6, 2017-903. Call to order the Board of County Commissioners for Elbert County. To start, do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Bear. Here. Commissioner Richardson. Present. Commissioner Wilcox. Here.
Now at this time, Pastor Brian James, please, if you could do the prayer and pledge.
It'd be my pleasure. Gracious Heavenly Father, we come before you today and we praise you for who you are, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Nobody is above you and nobody is alongside you. Everyone and everything is below you and nothing is too difficult for you. Father, I also thank you for what you've done for making a way for us through the wilderness of this crazy mixed up world through your Son, Jesus Christ. And Father, I ask your blessing today over our county, over our state, and over our nation. I lift up our commissioners to you, Lord. I pray a blessing over their marriages and their relationships with their children, with the people of this community. Father, I pray that your hand of divine providence that guided our founding fathers would be upon them and overtake them as they make the critical decisions that will affect multiple generations in our county way into the future. I thank you for their dedication and their heart, and I thank you that you have been invited here today. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor James, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, at this time, approval of the agenda. We have some changes.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented with the following changes. We strike the fair board briefing, coordinate that for our next meeting. Discussion of the roof repair code, and then action item H4, the appointments policy, will hold until after. Welcome to the fair board.
I second that motion.
One other comment that I'd like to make before we approve the agenda is, as a matter of process, we normally have land use hearings, okay, during our meeting, but now in the future, how we're going to handle those is we're going to conduct the land use hearings at 1 o'clock. We'll do our Board of County Commissioner meeting, and then if it goes to 1, we'll suspend the meeting, go into the land use hearing at that point. If it doesn't, we'll recess and then adjourn, and then come back for the land use hearings at 1 o'clock. So essentially, that'll be set to take place next week.
Commissioners, Kyle Leonard, Director of CBS. We do have some hearings that have already been noticed, and those hearings that have been noticed stay 9 a.m. here. So can we look at the ones that have been noticed and maybe start this process following the expiration? Any new notices will reflect this, and I can get you those dates.
I don't think you need to worry about it because
As soon as
it's
the
not that at 9 o'clock is when the meeting,
Okay.
board meeting is scheduled. It's, and what as part of the board meeting now, we're making the time for the land use time specific. So,
I think
notice,
technically you're correct.
yeah, the notice doesn't need to be changed because all we're doing is putting, telling you what the agenda order will be.
Okay. I think technically that's correct, but I was wondering if we have citizens who are already planning on being somewhere at 9 o'clock and they don't, with the ones that are noticed,
Yeah, I think you're making a distinction without a difference because the land use is always at the end of the meeting anyway.
okay. Thank you.
So we have a motion to second.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Consent agenda. Mylar, vouchers.
As far as I can tell, there's nothing in there that is out of the ordinary, so I make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, elected officials, department heads and staff reports. Do we have any comments?
Good morning, Commissioners. Is it on? It's on. Can you hear me?
Can you folks hear?
Not very good.
No, not very good?
Okay. Can you hear me any better? Just tell me. Sorry. Okay. Is that any better?
No, still not working. It's
Now,
pressing.
okay. How about now? Oh, all right.
This one, yeah,
There you
I'm
go.
on. Okay,
All right.
thank you. Appreciate your time this morning. I just wanted to share that we had a press release conference yesterday in downtown Denver at the Webb Building, and there was some part of the press release I wanted to read to you, and it also is posted different places, but I just wanted to share a few of the highlight points on this, so you would be aware of what took place. And the press release, it says here, Metro area assessors announced new real property valuations for 2017. Based on sales, values continue to increase across the Front Range. 7 metro area assessors made a joint announcement today, which was yesterday, about the 2017 real property valuations for their respective counties. Assessors are required to consider transactions of real property from the time period of July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2016, and trend these sales to the June 30th date. Based on sales activities during this time frame, values have increased significantly in Adams, Arapahoe, Boulder, Denver, Douglas, Elbert, and Jefferson County. Property valuation notices will be mailed to property owners by May 1st, 2017. If a property owner does not agree with their valuation and/or classification, they can protest to their county assessor as long as their protests are postmarked or received by the assessor no later than June 1st, 2017. Excuse me. Under state statute, property valuations are not finalized until after the appeals process concludes, and each of the 64 county assessors in Colorado certifies value to the various taxing entities within their county prior to December 10th. So each county got up and spoke, the 7 metro districts, and believe it or not, Elbert County is a metro district, so we were included in this. And the part that I read yesterday at the press release says, Elbert County Assessor's Office reported that as of June 30th, 2016, the estimated market values in Elbert County had a median appreciation of 30%. The 30% increase is heavily influenced by a strong residential market, which has been one of the hottest in the Front Range area. The Elbert County Assessor's Office reappraised 13,000 parcels, utilizing 1,140 qualified market transactions from July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2016. All sales have been trended or adjusted for time to June 30th, 2016. We had a map up on the wall. They had a few people say that Elbert County's map was the best map up there, so that was encouraging. It looked very nice. The colors were very bright, and people could read it clear from the back. So it was very nice that that was up there, and that they had put that up there for us. The Denver Post has done an article, and it was looks like it was published last night after our meeting. Aldo Savaldi was there at the meeting and asked many questions, and he did a very good article, and so we do have a copy of that. But the one part that he put in here, it's
he put at the top, it says, red hot real estate market leads to property tax spikes around Metro Denver. Well, that would be the metro areas, also. And it said it here, just a blip of what he had said, that the news from 7 metro area county assessors who on Tuesday held a news conference to announce spikes in median home property valuations ranging from 17% for single-family homes in Douglas County to 40% for all homes in Adams County. So I just thought this would be informative for you to know and to watch for, to see when it comes out to read that article. He did a very nice job. And Mike O'Connor also would like to share a few things also.
Good morning, Commissioners. So we're happy to say that we're in the final steps of our reassessment process, and as part of that, we built and posted our data file so that we can get the notices printed and mailed by May 1st. So, you know, what happens as part of that process is we build the data and it gets updated to the website. So anybody that looks at our public website can see that there are currently posted 2017 values on there. But what I want to emphasize is they are working numbers until May 1st. In fact, I'm having 12 parcels corrected for clerical error this morning. So please look at your notices when they come, because the values could change. And I just don't want anybody to, you know, look at that value and say, okay, I'm done, or okay, you know, I have to do something without looking at their notice. I think it's important. And as part of that, I just wanted to also bring the back of our notices of value in case anybody wants to see them. I know sometimes, you know, you have to wait until May 1st, and that way I can talk a little bit about the form. We have a real property questionnaire section that just requests, if you don't agree with your value, we're happy to look at it, but please submit any information that you feel is relevant to the market value of your property as of January 1st of 2017. So I'm going to put those here. There's about 50 copies. I'm sure that'll be enough. And really, that's it.
Mike, what's posted on the website now, I know you said it might address, but is the projected tax based on the new 7.2%?
Correct. We have applied the 7.2% assessment rate, and that should be reflected in the tax calculation, but I want to emphasize it. It's based on mill levies that were certified for 2016, and the current mill levies won't be certified until December of next year or so.
Mike, will the statements, the NOVs that are going out, do they indicate the same?
They will be in sync probably around in the early hours on May 1st. So when I say working values, it's a working file. For example, right now we have 12 properties that the file that the printer's holding are different than the values that we are correcting. And they'll get synced up over the weekend and early May 1st, and then they'll all go out and get mailed.
Okay, so our NOVs that went out are based on the 7.2.
Yes, they are. And they will be.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Here. Good morning.
It should be working now, Jerry. The plug was loose.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Joyce Spear, Director of Public Health and Human Services. I should take a moment to remind everybody that we are at the beginning of the rabies season. This year, we have already identified 3 animals, 2 sons and 1 fox, in the Elizabeth area that are rapid, and we've had 1 human exposure so far. So it's just that time to get the information out to remind everybody about what to look for and to avoid those animals that normally come out at night and they're out during the day, and if they see anything that looks like they're having trouble walking, flying, eating, drinking, something that is abnormal. The animals usually we're looking at are skunks, fox, and raccoons. And if anyone sees any wildlife that is acting unusual, they should call the Colorado Parks and Wildlife Office. We're going to put a notice on our webpage, and also the couple of neighborhoods that have the animals have been found in. We're going out to put flyers out this wrong. Palomino subdivision, she said north of Walmart, is that right?
No,
That's a road.
Cimarron.
Okay, okay. And then, there have been two near County Road 5, near Toledo Airport. So, we'll put some posters out in the vet's office and in the feed stores and like I said, in the neighborhoods. So that the veterinarians they're very good with working with us in our office and the State Department of Public Health. Anyone can contact our office, they can contact the state directly. Tri-County is very good about working with us too if they're on that end of the county. And obviously, everyone it's recommended that all pets get vaccinated. And the veterinarians will also say that you should vaccinate the larger animals too. And the only testing that we do is if there's a known human or pet exposure, and that cost is covered by the state. Some people want to have animals tested they might find around their homes, or they might think of exposed animal, or their animal may be exposed. And that's a cost to the resident themselves, which is $65. And they would have to get that, not the whole animal, it's actually that they had this tested. And that would have to they would have to get some wild area that they have to take that to get tested. Anything else you want to know? Thank you, Dave. Let's talk about reading.
Gary, thank you. Any further comments? All right. Next section, we have open public comment. Now, if I could just remind folks, open public comment is for anything unrelated to discussion and action items, because you'll have the opportunity to discuss those things individually or comment on those things individually. So, do we have any open comment? Did you sign it? I don't have the list, so if you did.
I did.
Marlene? Please. Good.
Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to, Marlene Brooks, 33,300 Ridge Road. Lee and I had a nice chat the other day, and we talked about how well they're doing in transparency and getting information out. But we also talked about finding the bridge. So I know some citizens have been looking at the website, which is a good thing, and it's also a good thing that there's information on the website. But some of the draft documents have not been there. So I want to make sure everybody knows that, and we hope that in the next 2 weeks, in the next agenda, all the draft items will be there. Thank you.
Thank you. Tom?
Tom Peterson, 1366 Concord Trail, Elizabeth. As we approach the 100 days of office, I want to congratulate each of you for the work that you're doing, the professionalism, the level of effort you're putting into collaborating as part of the team. And I've had numerous comments given to me specifically on the effort that you guys are doing specifically with building the county team, your efforts to communicate, and your efforts to be efficient in how you're using the finances. So congratulations, thank you. And that's with recognition at the national level. We just posted today a video on resistance is the same as obstruction. And so if there's any examples here locally, we can put a video together of the obstructionist effort that may be underway, but at least at the national level, a nice video on just that. But congratulations to each of you as you hit your 100 days in office, and thank you for the hard work that you do. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, at that time, we'll go on to the discussion items. First one, we remove Fair Board, so update on the zoning orders.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kyle Fenner, Director of Community Development Services. I distributed a memo to you. We don't need to go through that ad nauseum. But my request Commissioner Thayer and I have been talking a lot. He's the liaison for CDS for you guys. And really, the zoning regulations are woefully antiquated, if you will. They are in dire need of rewrite. The timing is perfect. We are doing public outreach right now with the master plan and the comprehensive plan. To have the two tracked together is quite appropriate. The regulations achieve the vision set forth in the comprehensive plan. What's true about our regulations, that if you were to go back through the old books, I would say almost 100% of part 1 in 1983 is identical to what we have today. Other than the small updates that I've done since I've been in office. They are Euclidean, they are cumbersome, and I can describe Euclidean if you want. And what's also been true is over the years, they have been amended by resolution, and those resolutions sit outside the regulation. They never got incorporated into the regulation, so they're floating around. And if one doesn't know to look for that resolution as an amendment to the regulations, oftentimes it doesn't get included in a process or an application process. So if somebody isn't here and knows about it, to go look for it. It's a challenge. There are forms in formats that they can be written in that make them much easier to use than the format that they're written in now. So my request is that the BOCC allow CDS to undertake a rewrite of the Elbert County zoning regulations.
I'd like to make a couple comments. Is that yes, the short answer is yes, but as Kyle pointed out, she and I, and also the county manager, have been talking a lot about the fact that our current zoning regulations and subdivision regulations are internally inconsistent and antiquated, I guess is a nice way to put it. So I appreciate your coming forward to ask for instruction. What I'd like to suggest, and some of our personal conversation was, baseline you have identified, and they're already under contract to us, have indicated that they would be willing to undertake the task of updating these regulations.
That's right.
And one of the things that I would like to suggest is we would like this to be mostly a third-party presentation to us, so that we can have available to us these skills that from a multiple sources within baseline. What I would like to request is that of you is that you set up a meeting with the 3 commissioners, and I understand they'll have to be noticed, and with the county manager and you to scope the tone and the requirements, and including the patches that we've been talking about, into a new set of regulations. I would also like to have some kind of an indication of what the timing might be. And I also want to encourage you to realize that there's a sense of urgency. So what I'd like to do, and I'm going to defer to the other commissioners here of when they would be available, but I would like to set up the first, what I'm going to call the scoping of work meeting as soon as possible, or as soon as practicable is probably a better way to put it. I don't know, do we need a formal motion to give her the authority, give Cal the authority, or just, this is good enough?
I think for setting up a meeting, that would be good enough. Would you like me, I can start with just a draft of that scoping document, so at least we've got the structure to work with, and then we can.
That would be fine with the meeting we need soon.
Absolutely.
Are you guys comfortable?
Yes.
Yeah, it's very comfortable.
Yes.
Okay.
Long overdue.
Okay, excellent, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Can we appreciate it? All right. Next one, strategic plan and countywide organizational adjustments.
Yeah, we've been, probably about the last 2 months or so, we've had we've been holding public workshops with the elected officials, department heads, to kind of start down and kind of resync our thought process on what our county is all about, how we want to go about business, how we want to present ourselves, and it's moving towards development of a strategic plan with very defined objectives that can help us prioritize in the budget process. As of last week, our last meeting, we kind of codified what our vision of the county is, what we see as our mission statement, and the values that the county possesses, or what we're looking for is essentially guidance to move forward in the absence of, when there isn't strict policy or statute that says you must do X, then what are we doing as a county? This is kind of the fluffy piece of strategic planning. We codified that in a draft policy. The first piece will stay relatively static, as I said, the mission, vision, values piece, and then there's some guidance on how we see ourselves going about setting up short, mid-term, long-term objectives, how we link that to the budget, and then how we'll review and update that strategic plan going forward, so it doesn't just sit on a shelf. Like I said, it's been discussed quite a bit within that kind of executive group that I described. I'd like to have the staff put it out on the website, and we'll look at approving the policy and getting it published formally at our next meeting. But that's kind of where I'm at. Okay, so comments on the process?
One thing, we've had a lot of involvement with department heads, elected officials in kind of defining our mission, vision, values. And it's been helpful, it's been productive, it really has. And I think it's established a vision, but it's a vision that was created by everyone. So with that, do we want to post it or move to take any action to
We're posting it, so
posting it?
we've had some public involvement, or at least presence at the workshops. It's a fair chance to let everybody see what we've developed before approval.
Okay. Right, so at that point, we'll look at moving into our next item. Okay, Grant?
No, I'm good.
All right, we moved, roof repair, so county manager contract review. Comments on that?
I can make a comment or two. I've got to tell you with sincere honesty that when I was running to become county commissioner, many of the public stated strong opinions about our county manager. And when I was sworn into office, I had mixed concerns, and I didn't know really what the concerns were, but I did know I was getting information that was puzzling and conflicting. And now we've been there, according to Tom, almost 100 days or 101 days, I'm not sure which, as I've become, I guess the best way to put it is more knowledgeable about the relationship that the county manager has with staff, with other departments, and with us as the county commissioners. One of the things that has become very clear to me, and of course I'm being judgmental when I say this, is that several of the employees have come to me and said that if it hadn't been for our county manager during the last few years, the chaos here would have been significant. So what I would like to do is, as a indication of our vote of confidence in the county manager, is to make a motion to extend his contract till 12/31/18. He's going to be integral in the implementation of our strategic plan. He'll be integral in the updating of our budget processes, and I'm going to defer to Chris on this one, the implementation of all of these new policies that he's been writing. So I have now made the motion.
I'll second.
Yeah, actually, just it was a topic of discussion during the elections, and I'll fall back on a couple of things. My experience with the Elizabeth School Board versus the county working at the board level and having that one key individual that carries out the policy decisions that are made. I cannot imagine a school district without a superintendent. You had 5 people, 5-person school board trying to run 5 or 6 different schools. You know, chaos would ensue. So just like I couldn't see a school district run without a superintendent, I don't really see how a county runs without, you know, a manager who's actually implementing policies. Otherwise, we'd be in perpetual meeting. There's no real good way about it. The second would be you never really know an organization until they're inside. You can sit in meetings for years, you can read every newspaper article, you can talk to everybody, but until you see just the complexity of, you know, second, third order effects of every decision that is made. You know, policy decisions are probably the easiest. Implementation is the hardest. I've always felt we've had a good choice was moving right ahead on as a county manager, and I think Grant's recommendation that we keep him on contract specifically through the end of Danny's term, through the term of our other elected officials, to keep the group together has been working so well. I think it's, you know, not only necessary, it's just the right thing to do.
Comment. I think the mention was we're at 100 days. And I said I'm close to 200 days. So I had to start in September. So I came in probably one of the most toxic environments I kind of ever seen. I mean, I've been in different environments. I've been in a lot of different environments, dealing with unions, dealing with management and negotiation, contracts. I mean, and it's really, I thought I had seen a toxic environment. Okay. Until I showed up here. And I really couldn't believe it. I didn't quite understand it. And I came in unknowing. And I jumped in and I had listened to a lot of people. A lot of people had told me different things. I mean, I got comments from everybody as to what to do with the county staff, what to do with the county manager, what to do with the county attorney. And I got it from one end to the other. So when I came in, I had to try to look at this, and I took the stance that I looked at total objectivity. I mean, I looked at it objectively when I came in and looked at the performance of everybody and tried to analyze that because I didn't know which way to turn. And dealing with 2 commissioners that were just I mean, I won't go there. What I saw was the only thing that kept this place going, and the only thing that kept these people working together, and the only thing that kept us going towards a direction was his county manager. And it didn't take me long to see that. And I was a little hesitant about going there because of everything I'd heard coming in. But after I was here for literally a month, I saw and I realized that literally this county was where we're at now because of his ability to work with these other people and work with the department heads and work with these elected officials. And it was evident. But I got to see it firsthand behind the scenes because I was here every day. And I've had a lot of people tell me that that's something I shouldn't stand for, I shouldn't support this person, but I have to say unequivocally that I do support him, and I support him all the way till the end of when I leave this position. So, thank you.
Probably should let it in there, but the one thing piece we haven't really talked about is finances in this county. We know we've been strapped for cash. We know we've got requirements that far exceed our resources. Ed obviously didn't start as county manager, he was our road and bridge manager for quite a while. When he took over road and bridge, there were no reserves, there was no money in road and bridge other than what they spent every year, what came in, what went out. Over his few years there, he built up a very healthy reserve. And, you know, some may say that was money that in reserve wasn't being spent on roads, but when the economy took its downturn, the county general fund had no reserves. You know, the only way we made it through until tax collections in the spring was because we were borrowing from road and bridge. It's kind of questionable whether that was proper or not, but it's the only thing that kept services in this county going. Now, upon coming in as county manager, we had a long string of years where audits had not been completed in a timely manner. State was looking at us. I mean, those have been corrected, and those were not issues that were corrected by the last county commissioners because they had whatever they were doing on the other side of the table going on. That is directly attributable to our county manager and the team of electeds that came together to work to keep the county running through the chaos that they described.
We do. Thank you. That was some comments. All right, we've had our discussion. Is there any public discussion? At that point, we've got a motion on the table and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Well, in an organization like ours, you might question the next part. It's a policy on policy management. Well, actually, it fits.
Yeah.
So that's the next topic. Chris?
Again, this was something that's been bubbling around and talked about for a bit, but it's really a capstone policy and something to kind of help not only transparency and how we do business, but kind of give a little guidance on how we articulate that. So the document itself is designed to identify the policy that we require to ensure adequate governance of Alfred County and providing services on a day-to-day basis to our citizens. And it also describes a method for organizing and indexing county policy, review and update, and requires that adopted policy is readily available to both employees and the public. Generally, what we've been doing over the years as a need for a policy is recognized, it was developed, passed as a resolution, and recorded. So if you don't know what date or what the title was or what the subject was, finding a recorded policy, if it's not sitting around somewhere, is difficult, and that's really not the best way to run a business, I guess. So, you know, when we make a decision in a public meeting, you know, that's really the only place we can make decisions. So at our level, it's generally something we should be making policy decisions. We do some contractual stuff with our budget work, but what guides the overall direction and day-to-day operations of the county is the policies and regs that are in place when we're not in session. So what we're looking at doing is organizing our policy into several sections. One just kind of foundations and basic commitments. That's really this policy we're talking today. A section on open government and transparency. A section that covers our commissioners, general county administration, and there's some internal sections for internal management, personnel, fiscal management, property, information technology. And then we go into kind of our external support, public works, land use, and then we encourage the other electeds to kind of adopt this. And we'll keep them all together in a place where current policy will be available online once published. Previous versions recorded policy can certainly be requested, but we'll make sure that everything that's current is up there. Again, this is kind of started as my brainchild, went to the county manager, and then we shared it with the other commissioners. And I think it's time to kind of put this one out online and look at a future meeting adopting that. Like I said, we've got previous policy that's been published that over time we'll review, we'll get it, use the same basic structure, same kind of numbering system. If somebody's looking for a policy, they should be able to at least have an index to know where to start looking to see if there is a policy on such. That's kind of what our thought process was. That's all.
No? Okay, on that, I'd like to say, previous employment, we went through an accreditation process. The accreditation process required that you have essentially a policy on policy, a defined process for each of your policies, and it went really in depth on how you adopt policy, how you define it, how you organize it, and really how you determine it. So it's not abnormal to really go really in depth on policies because it pretty much what guides the organization. So I was kind of used to that.
Yeah.
So any discussion on our policies? And we'll post that. Okay.
We'll work on the
And-
policy on awkward titles.
Okay. So, next one, open records request policy. That's what is, we're actually waiting on that. We're waiting for legislation to come through on, because that may have an impact on how we define our open records request, how we satisfy these ORs. So, with that, I think that will continue on the discussion item. Yes. Any comments or on our open records request policy?
When do you expect the date for?
You know,
Before the legislature ends,
yeah,
they only got a couple of weeks left.
Commissioner, do you publicize how many requests you get and who they're from? Is that made known publicly?
Our recording doesn't work very well unless you walk to the podium.
Tom Peterson, 1366 Concord Drive. Do you publicize how many requests come in and who they come from? And is that made public available?
Good question. We do not.
Can I address that?
Yes, please.
We have had some requests before.
Okay. Lee County Attorney, just for the record. We have had some requests before about who's asking for open records. And we did some research on that. I do believe that that is in fact an open record. Because by its nature, when someone makes a public request, it's not confidential. They're making a public request. But in the past, we have not published how many we have, who it's coming from, or anything like that. So that would be out of the ordinary. We've not had any request to give a breakdown of who has been asking specifically. So that issue has not actually come up, but we have had some requests about other people's open records requests. In other words, kind of a who made this request type of thing.
There's been those who have requested repeatedly transparency. To me, one very effective transparent effort would be to publicize those who make public record open records requests and have that available to the public on a quarterly basis.
And I would say, probably going forward, one thing we should be looking at is a business process. How much time and effort is being spent filling open records requests? As a, pulse of the public thing, it is something we look at. I mean, if somebody makes an open records request, it's nice to know what people are concerned about. It allows us to do our research and be prepared to answer questions as well.
That was an excellent question. No, I don't know. To think about it a little bit. I don't see that there should be some reason why we wouldn't publish that list, but we just never have.
That's discussion on that.
Yes, sir.
That's a good point. All right, any more discussion on open records? Yes. Wait.
Marlene Rose again, 33, 300 Ridge Road. I've never really had variance requests, but, the flip side is what Tom has suggested, and usually this puts a list of who's asking for information. But we also need to look at, is the information not available on our website? Is the information something that should be on our website? So let's not go negative, okay? Let's just really not, if we can avoid that. That's just my comment, because many counties have all these things on their website. And we're working to get our county to have the same. Okay.
That again is one of those things that every good idea has to be thought through, and it sounds like a good idea that we need to think our way through it.
And I would say in general, if we see a request that seems like something that would be asked for again by somebody else, then we should have some trigger to just make that information public. And there's some things that are public record that probably are, the fact that we have an open records request, one, if you have open records, then you probably have closed records. And if you have a request process, then there's probably some open records that aren't wise to have widely published unless somebody has a specific interest. So it is a balance.
Like the elephant in the room is there are just a handful of people that make multiple requests, and it's burdensome on the county.
Just as a comment here, public comment is only intended to be one public comment after each issue. And your comments are good, except that it's awkward in the meeting. We have too much what I call conversation going on.
All right, at that point, next item, for consideration, public improvement districts and local improvement districts. The final item on discussion. These are two policies that I kind of been working on, and it's specifically created from a number of subdivisions who were looking at trying to create some improvements for their area. And there are two avenues, public improvement districts and local improvement districts. And I'm not going to get into the specifics of each one, but what I would like to do before I continue to be certain that I ask that we can post both policies so that they could be reviewed. What these improvement districts allow is a local area, a subdivision, a homeowners association, or a group of people can work together and create an improvement in an area. And they can improve it through a bond, and it can be placed on their tax bill. And it's used heavily in other counties. These processes are used, and I'll tell you one county that specifically has used them to their advantage is Larimer County. They probably created over 60 improvement districts. These improvement districts can be used for road improvements, water, some have been used for recreation areas, whatever fits. Essentially, this is an avenue these subdivisions, these associations can use to improve their area. These two policies are I think they're 7 or 8 page policies. They define the difference between public and local. One is regarding tax, second, public is a mill levy increase. The local is essentially a loan that you're paying back through a subdivision. And they're both separate, but they both they'll work for different areas. With that, we have both these out there. We have created them. They're in draft format. We will post them for your review, but we're looking to push them, have them brought through the county so that we define this process, that these are brought to us, of each person's role. The role of the subdivision, the role of the county. And that's what these policies kind of define. So, with that,
Just as kind of an anecdotal comment on this is that Sun Country Meadows executive group for their HOA invited Danny and I up to visit with them, and we were actually using our presentation, Danny's presentation, as kind of a test case to see if we were on the right track. And the impression that I left with is they were encouraging us to move forward on this, and it does create a lot of opportunities for the citizens to help themselves. And we will participate in the helping of them helping themselves, you'll pardon the poor English. So I'm excited about this because there's, I don't know, there's multiple, I was going to give you a number, but I wouldn't know what the number is. There are multiple communities that have issues that this could be used as a vehicle to resolve: roads, water, communication. There's lots of different things. And I see the lady from Sun Country here. She'd like to make a comment on what Danny had to say. That would be nice.
Hi, I'm Linda Krauser, Lariat Trail, Sun Country Meadows. I wasn't expecting this, but that's okay. Thank you, gentlemen. I just want to say I've been out in Sun Country for 10 years. Been in Elbert County since 1990. Sun Country has been a disaster with roads. I'm tired of it. I am treasurer of HOA out there. I've only been on board for a year. Little did I realize what I was in for. At any rate, I just want to say, Ed Eman, Danny, Grant, they have stepped up to the plate for us consistently. Ed even stepped up to the plate before these two gentlemen were on the board, so I support you on extending his contract. I just want to say what Danny's presentation was on this past Saturday was phenomenal. And I do believe that it's going to take all of us, whether you're in Sun Country, whether you're in another part of Elbert County, it's going to take us, people, residents, community people, that's going to help this to move forward. We cannot depend on the county for everything. We moved out here for a reason. We like being in the country, but we hate spending $4,000 or $5,000 a year on repair. I have a low tire right now, and I just spent $1,000 on tires 2 weeks ago, and I got in my car today, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I'm hoping if you see me out there trying to fix a flat tire, that you'll help me. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I love being in Elbert County. We came from Jefferson counties. I'm 1990. We've seen a lot of changes out here, and I'm very proud to be part of Elbert County. I hope you feel the same. And I think as a team effort, we need to step up to the plate and become one rather than divided. So anyway, with that, thank you, gentlemen, and thank you, Dan and Grant, for coming out Saturday.
I'm sorry for ambushing you, but I wanted to hear your comments.
Pardon me?
I apologize for ambushing you,
Oh,
but
no,
I
it's okay.
wanted
I'm
your comments.
comfortable because I speak the truth. Anyway, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Danny did do good work on this. If folks have a chance to read through it, I would. Like I said, we don't have the resources to do everything that we wish we could do in the county, but there are some resources we have that we can offer to subdivisions that are willing to take on some of the burden themselves, and that's engineering expertise, the ability to reach out and get, contracts at decent rate, not one-off, but from a county and services we can back into. So a lot of what this is written on is what's the share the county can take on, what can they pick up and provide for the subdivisions, and how we can assist in terms of, it does require some local elections, etc., formation of districts that comes back to the county, that sort of thing. So I'd encourage people to take a look at it.
So do we need to put this as an action item?
I would also say that in an issue of fairness, it makes some sense to have the people who benefit by the improvements cover the cost of the improvements.
Do we post this or push it to an action item? Post it and take it, comment next week.
Under normal course, we would, add it to action if that's the desire of the board to the next meeting. And we've got a couple of cleanup items in there. We can clean those up and post them on the web for public review.
For public good. So we'll keep on this discussion. Alright. That's what we're doing. Alright, at this point, done with discussion, on to action items. We have, ballots. These, if I could ask you a question, these, we've got these 3 liquor licenses for review. Do we have to review them individually?
Yes,
Or-
we have to be voted on individually.
Okay, that was it.